It's great from different backgrounds and cultures, but we all share the same mission, and that is transforming the lives of people around the globe through science-based products. So, to better understand the Immunotech story, journey, its products, its people, I would like to introduce tonight's guest. Now, just before I do that, I wanted to put out a quick disclaimer here, because the statements that you're going to hear tonight are from people, individuals who shared their experiences with Immunotech products and business opportunity. Immunotech products are intended to support overall well-being, while they are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. These testimonials should not be considered as medical advice, and individuals should consult with their own healthcare professional. So on with tonight's guest. This lady is very special in a lot of ways. Donna, can you unmute yourself, please? This girl is a Texan through and through, and she has stories. She's a registered massage therapist. She's since 1993. She has been with Immunotech for 20 years, but Donna's passion is so deep and committed to helping others, not just feel better, but to improve their overall quality of life. So let's get on with the stories. Shall we, Donna?
Sure.
Can everybody see? I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Let's see if I can do this.
You're not sharing anymore, Judy. Don't worry.
Oh, thanks. Thank you, Dylan. Okay, and there's going to be a point where I'm going to want to share again because Donna's got some really cool stuff to share with us. But Donna, let's get started.
Okay.
Were you having any health issues when you got introduced to Immunocal?
Yes, I was. I was in my 50s. I was a massage therapist. Some of the people that I was working on, I heard a whole lot worse than they did. I had a lot of inflammation in my back and my neck from just injuries over the years. Like you said, I'm a true Texan. Lots of horses, lots of falling off of horses, getting thrown off of horses, fell off a two-story house, car wrecks, different things. So there was a lot of inflammation. In fact, at night, sometimes I would have to sleep on ice on my spine because it was just throbbing, even though I was taking vitamins and herbs to help, with the inflammation, but also had allergies. Seasonal, I say seasonal, got to where it was year round, and I was sneezing, coughing, nose running, and every once in a while, if the wind blew through, sometimes it would carry pollen, and I would break out in whelps. So yes, I did have issues.
You know, it's interesting. I have so much respect for massage therapists, and here's why. Because as their job is making you feel better and have less pain, and at the same time, it really takes a toll on their bodies as well.
It does. And it depends on their longevity, their ability to stay healthy.
And it's interesting, you're still practicing, is that correct?
Yep.
And you've
still
got
practicing. My clients say that they have to die first, then I can stop.
Okay, so you started so who introduced you to Immunotech?
I had a real dear friend I'd known since I was probably 14 years old, and she called me, talked to me about it. I wasn't really interested. It was a multi-level marketing. I didn't want to do that. But she also had allergies really bad. She had real bad lung issues, and her mother was diabetic, and she was telling me all these wonderful things that were happening. And so I said, okay, I'll give it a try. And if she hadn't have introduced me to it, because everyone wants you to use their products and promote their products. But if she hadn't have done it, I probably taken a whole lot longer to use Immunocal.
Wow. And how long did it take you to get feeling better and see the results?
It was within, the next week after I started taking it. So it was like it's crazy to be laying in bed and you're not hurting. For me, it was. You're trying
Hmm.
to find a comfortable spot. Then I noticed I wasn't sneezing. I wasn't coughing like I had been, especially in certain times of the year. So it was a very short time that it kicked in and started, building my immune system enough, getting rid of the inflammation.
Wow. It's interesting. One of the common themes of Immunotech is that we have people like yourself, Donna, who have been with the company for a long time. And you've stayed with the company and the lives that you've been able to impact. In fact, you told me the story about you actually met Dr. Bonos, the discoverer of Immunocal. That
Yes, I
must have
did.
been an amazing experience.
It really was. It was, you know, as I said, I had misgivings because it was a multi-level marketing company. But once I met Dr. Bunos, we were at a convention. He came in. He just walked over to our table. There was a group of us and started talking to us. And we invited him to sit down. He did. We got him something to drink. And this man that we had heard about, here he is sitting with us and talking with us, very humble, a true humanitarian. He was thanking us for promoting this product that he believes so much in because they they had tried to use pharmaceutical companies before. It was going to cost them $600 a box.
Mm.
That's what they had it priced up at. So there was no way, like his dream to have a box in every house was going to happen. And the multi-level marketing was the really only other choice, because how can you set a box of Immunocal, which is this high quality, undenatured whey protein, next to another box of whey, and people have any idea what it's about? So
Hmm.
multi-level marketing, people talking, people having experiences. And so he really appreciated everyone that were making really his dream come true, to help people, because it was such an amazing product that he really intently wanted to be able to help people with it.
And where do you get the experience of actually meeting the scientist or researcher that discovered the product? That's very rare to
Yeah,
have that opportunity.
yeah, and it makes it real. So I had no
Hmm.
qualms or doubts or fears after that, because it's real. And that's what people have to understand, that this is a real product, a real company, real science.
Yeah. And so you would agree that Immunotech is set apart from all other network marketing companies.
Oh, absolutely. Because Immunotech is multi-level marketing, uh, just because that's the only way we can get the information out to people. That's the only reason. It's Dr. Bunos wasn't out for money. He was out to help people. And the
Mm.
company, I mean, you have to make money when you're a company, but the focus is on the product and the quality of the products. And you can see that in not just the Immunical, but all the other products that they put
Mm.
out there that work synergistically together to help with people's immune system and just a better quality of life.
That's so beautifully said, Donna, because it falls in line with the type of people that come to Immunotech too, like yourself. Very high integral people, very committed and very dedicated people. And that's really what I find is the exception with Immunotech. So we've got people here I know that are just waiting to hear some stories. So let's get to the stories. So
Okay.
tell us how you integrated Immunocal into your practice.
Well, it's interesting. It was like playing, really. I'd had these clients for a while, and you knew what their issues were. One in particular, I think I told you about. Her name was Phyllis, and I had a group of cyclists that would do. It's called the MS 150, and they would ride from Houston to Austin, 150 miles, for MS. And she would come back from that ride, and she couldn't work the first week because her knees and were so swollen, and she was in such pain. And then the next week she was still in pain. When I put them on everyone on Immunocal. MS 150 comes around. Phyllis comes back. Her knees aren't hurting. They aren't swollen. And, it was such an amazing transformation of what she had to deal with when she would, do this event every year. That was one of them. I had a client who had cancer, and her quality of life was just minimal. Put her on Immunocal. She was able to go do things with her family. She was able to eat what she wanted to. She was able to get out and get around. The sickness was gone, and she did so well. And then another healthcare practitioner, doctor, she was introduced to. He took her off of Immunocal, put her on glutamic acid, glycine, and a cysteine, because we know that's the components that makes glutathione. Her health went down. All of these wonderful things that had happened went down. So after about 3 months, she stopped that. She got back on her Immunocal, and her quality of life returned.
Wow.
So I had a friend who she was diabetic. She fell. She had about a 5-inch gash on her leg, and it wasn't healing. The doctor was giving her all sorts of things to do and bandaging. And I went over there one day and I said, look, I've done this with my animals. This is an open wound. I said, let's just pour the powder on there and see what happens. I said, it does great for them. And she was very reluctant, but she was desperate because it wasn't healing. She did it. It started closing up. Within 3 days, it was tremendously closed up. She went back to the doctor, and the doctor said, well, what we're doing is finally working.
Oh, the doctor took the credit.
Yeah, we didn't, she didn't tell her any difference, but
I think there's people on this call that have had that experience before.
That's right. But these are, there's a whole catalog, but we don't have all night. These are,
Wow.
but it just shows from these physical things, just like with the joints, to these serious things like cancer, and the quality of life that you can have with Immunocal, to, diabetics who can't heal. I mean,
Yeah.
it's across the board what Immunocal will do.
Yeah. And you and I talked, you have so many stories and so many experiences, and you've just given us a few. But what really got my attention was when you started talking about the animals. And I know you've worked a lot around animals because you're a Texan girl. You've had experience with, lots of horses and that kind of thing. But you had some amazing stories of what Immunocal has done for these animals. So I just want to pause for a minute, and I want to share my screen again because I want the audience to see some of these pictures that you so kindly shared. Let's see here. Where am I? Dylan, are you able to help me out here? Because for some reason I can't do the screen share again.
Let me see. Can you try again now?
Have you got control or have I? There we go. It's back. Okay, so I'm going to flip over here. There we go. Donna, can you see the screen?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, would you share with the audience the story?
Okay, I didn't have a picture of one of the horses that had gotten a gash to show you, but Julia Begg so kindly sent this to me because we had collaborated. She wanted to know, this was a cat that had cancer. It had broken through the skin, as you can see on the left-hand side, this open wound that they couldn't close up. I told her, I said, Julia, all I did with the horse is just pour the powder straight in there. So she did that. And you see on the left-hand side, that is the next day. So you can see how quickly with animals that the Immunocal for these open wounds, and for people, how quickly it can heal them.
So was this a cat or a dog or a horse?
I think this was a cat.
This is a cat. So
yes.
so the picture on the right is the next day.
Yes, the very next day.
Wow.
And I mean, it's amazing. Now, this is a horse, as you can see, the on the left-hand side. I mean, this horse was emaciated. She was, some friends of mine rescued her, brought her to my house with their other horses. She was about 18 years old at this point, and you can even see down by where her tail attaches. There's
Yeah.
nothing there. I mean, she was just it was just horrible. I always fed the horses in the morning, and I went out a few days later to feed her, and she wasn't going. I had already fed the other horses, and I looked out there, and she wasn't going to her trough. And went out there, and her lip on her right lip, her right eye were drooped down. It was just hanging. She had like a sunstroke. And she couldn't move her right side, and she couldn't get over to her feed very easily. So I didn't know what to do. I went in the house, got a couple of packs of Immunocal, poured it on top of her feed, pushed it over to her so she could start eating. She did. Even though some of it would fall out, she'd go back after it and she'd eat it. Within 3 days, she was walking around normal. The picture on
Wow.
the right is her after 3 months. Now, before I go there, within 6 weeks of her looking like this and barely moving, she kicked the gate off her stall.
Gee.
And the picture on the right is 3 months later, where you can see she's all filled out, all on her hips, her sides, everywhere. She's uh, gotten even muscle mass back. So she lived till she was about 32. She didn't live with us that long, but I
Hmm.
think she left the house when she was about 25,
Hmm.
uh, and went to greener pastures from there.
This I found fascinating because the animals, I know there's lots of treatments for animals these days too as
Yes.
humans, but the natural healing that takes place with an animal is different than a human. And how is that?
Well, their metabolism is so much faster than ours. They metabolize things faster. Um, and so it usually, I mean, they get effects almost instantaneously sometimes. I think I told you about my neighbor who's I went over there to work on her. She'd call me, and her dog, he's only 8 years old, a little Yorkie, was sitting there panting and like he'd been running, and he had congestive heart failure. So after
Hmm.
I worked on her, came home, brought her back Immunocal, and she started giving it. Now it's been only about 5 days, and she says he's just tremendously better. He was better the next day, but he's
Yeah.
just tremendously better. So they just can't, they absorb this, and like I said, they metabolize all this so much faster than we do that they can a lot of times have a lot quicker results than we do.
Yeah. And this is just something that's happening now. You
Yeah,
helped your neighbor. Yeah.
yeah, just
Amazing.
yeah. So
Well,
it goes on. I think Dr. Trowbridge mentioned a horse that had a big gash in her hip. He said it was from barbed wire, but it was from a mountain lion that got a hold of the horse. And the vet had prescribed, this wasn't my horse, so the people that owned it were putting this purple stuff down in it. It wasn't, the horse would move and it would gape open because it was on his hip. And
mhm.
so one day I just went out there again, poured Immunocal down in it, and within like 4 days it was almost completely closed. It was, even though the horse was still walking around, still, it closed it up. So
Wow.
it's amazing. It's amazing stuff.
And it was great. I just want to tell for the people that are new on the call tonight, last week we had Dr. John Trowbridge on our call. He's an integrative medical doctor. And it was Donna Raub that brought Dr. Trowbridge to Immunotech. And so the horse story was something he had shared with us last week, and it was really quite fascinating. But Donna, share with the audience, you had tried to talk to Dr. Trowbridge about the Immunocal, but he wasn't really interested at the time until you brought him this horse story. And how did he respond to you then?
Ben, well, every week before this, all these things that I'm telling you, I was telling him that were happening with these people and with myself. So fine, and it was like 2 months later, I showed him the pictures of the horse, and he said reluctantly, okay. He says animals aren't affected by placebo. So he could see, I mean, it was visible for him to see the changes.
Mm-hmm.
And the picture that I had showed him, which I don't have, of the other horse with the gaping hole, he could see what it does, just like y'all could see that with the cat. So that placebo effect can affect a lot of people, but it can't animals. And so that's why he really looked into it.
Mm-hmm.
Because his friend had tried to introduce it to him, he said in 98, I think. And this was, 5 or 6 years after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he just wasn't ready at the time until you brought him. Well, of course,
Well,
you're his massage therapist as well. So you
yeah,
see him on a regular basis.
yeah. And I just had to hammer and hammer and hammer.
Mm-hmm.
This
But
happened, this happened. This is the science. I brought him all the science. So, and that's what people have to understand, that doc, and like with him, he'd been very successful as an integrative doctor, and the things that
mm-hmm.
he did worked, but they work much better now since he's got Immunocal.
Well, you've helped so many people with the product and the animals. Those stories are just fascinating. And who don't you know? Like I don't have any animals myself, but a lot of my friends do, and they talk about the vet bills and how expensive some of these treatments are for animals. And if you were going to compare the costs, I know this personally because I use Immunocal. The cost is negligible when you look at the cost of veterinarian bills.
Oh yeah. I mean, you don't walk away from a vet without $100 to $200 bill with for minor things.
Yeah.
So
And
with anything,
animals have an immune system just as we do. Why wouldn't they uh,
right?
benefit from the product? It just makes
It
total
it's
sense.
yeah, it's like my son, who he's a professional. He rides and trains horses, and like he I'm bragging a little bit, won two national championships last month. But he had a horse that several years back, and it was kind of a virus that was going through horses all over the nation, and it was killing them very quickly. And his one of his prize stallions got this virus, and he couldn't afford the vet bill, which was several $1,000s to get the treatment. So we put him on Immunocal, and he did fine. In fact, when he got to the vet, when he could finally have the money, uh, he really had negligible symptoms, but he still got
Wow.
the treatment for it. So it can save people a lot of money, just
Mhm.
the preventative, and let
So
their
Donna,
animals.
I'm curious to know this. What keeps a person like yourself so committed to this company and its products? Just enlighten our audience as how you would stayed with it so long.
There's nothing else that does what Immunocal does. There's nothing else that you can replace it with. I mean, it's just like with those stories. It affects every part of your life. Glutathione is in every cell of your body. It's going to work on your skin. It's going to work on your eyes. It's going to work on your toes. It's going to work on your cuts. It's going to, your thyroid. Every part of your body, glutathione is a major contributor to keeping you healthy. And there's nothing else out there that you can offer people that does so much.
Mhm. Wow. So, what advice or message would you give us tonight or to people who are interested in exploring the benefits of Immunocal or Immunotech? You know,
Well,
what would you share?
I think all of us have doubts when there's new products. All of us do. But what I do tell my clients when I first started doing this, I'd say, look, give it 3 months. Take it for 3 months, you know, diligently. And then if it doesn't do anything for you, stop. Well, none of them stop. But I also told them, write down every symptom you have. Because I had clients that could barely walk through the door. They took Immunocal for 3 weeks and they were just sashaying in, like normal. And I says, well, you're really doing better. Oh, no, not really. you know, it's like, okay. So you need to write down everything, because there's little things that we put up with, whether it's, some, like this one lady, she couldn't open jars because it hurt her wrist. That's a simple thing, but it's a part of life. And that was the one that she says, I can open jars now. That's not a big thing, but it is. So write down everything, whether, your energy level. I know I I had gone to Yellowstone 1 year before I took Immunocal, walking all around and with a friend. And the next year we were on Immunocal and we were walking around, and it was like we looked at each other and says, "Are you okay? Yeah. Are you okay? Yeah. Yeah. Let's keep walking," because our energy level was that much better. So write these things down so you will notice the difference after 3 months. Like I said, if it doesn't help you, then don't do it. But give it a real good try. Everyone should. And healthcare professionals, you've got people that are desperate, that need to understand the importance of building the immune system, and detoxifying. And always with everyone, we've got to remember water, 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 because you can detox all you want, but if you don't drink the water to flush it out, you're not going to be feeling good, because you still have all that toxins in your system. But yeah, you should share it with everyone. Let them have a chance to have a better life.
I hope everybody in the audience got your 3 tips. So here's what I heard. Give it a 3-month try. Make sure that you take pictures, and make sure that you write notes on how you felt before, because you brought home such a good point, Donna. When we take an aspirin, we know that our headache's going to be gone. Well, Immunocal doesn't work that way. Like you said, it has to go through all the cells in the body, and that takes a great deal of time. So it's a slow build as opposed to just a toxic attack, let's call it.
Right.
Yeah. And so those are really good takeaways. I hope everybody got that. And so as a health professional, I want to go back to this for a moment. As a health professional, why is it that you think this is important to bring to your chiropractor, bring to your massage therapist?
If you're in a position to do that, and especially if you have a rapport with a massage therapist or with your chiropractor, their intent is to help people. That's why they usually get into that profession. They just don't understand what Immunocal and raising your glutathione level with Immunocal is going to do for their clients. It's just like I went to the chiropractor today. This chiropractor is using every kind of glutathione possible. Okay. All this time I've, talked to him. He sees the challenge that I had, what is fixed. But guess what? It's been over a year and a half now. And today, he says, well, let me try one of those boxes of Immunocal, because I showed him pictures of some skin issues that I had. And in fact, it was pretty funny when I showed them the before and the after pictures, and then he could see it. I showed him where it was, and he says, well, feel this right here. So he wants me to check him out. You think I said, well, you have to give it a try. And that's the thing. People they need to really try the product. I mean, it's going to do what it's going to do, and it's guaranteed that it does what it does. It's guaranteed. So there's so many
You're really
applications.
bringing some great points forward. What's that saying? A picture tells 1,000 words?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you have issue, because I had a skin issue I had some skin cancer, and I took pictures before and during and the process, and showed it to him today. And that's what made the difference, because like he said, I have a lot of people that could benefit from. So,
Wow.
and explaining to him what method of use patents, and I told him, because he knew that there was a lot of science and patents, but he didn't understand what a method of use patent was. And when I explained it to it, it says they have to clinically prove that it does what it's saying in that patent. And he says, oh, so.
Yeah. Well, Donna, you are a blessing to Immunotech, and I'm sure to all your clients. And I really want to thank you for sharing the animal stories with us. I know there's people in the audience right now that are thinking of people that they know that could really use this kind of help with their pets. So thank you so very much for coming on the call.
I
Thank you
enjoyed
for
it,
bringing
Judy.
Dr. Trowbridge to us last week. That was amazing.
That's
And so I
great.
know that we're going to have more time together later down the road and more stories to share. So Donna, God bless. Thank you so much for being with us, and we'll be talking again.
Okay, thanks, Judy, for having me back on.
We'll
Bye-bye.
talk soon.
Bye, y'all.
Hey, let me see if I can share my screen here again. Gee, I'm getting good at this. I'm scared now. I'm scared now. Okay, just want to go over the specials again quickly. The Serenity, if you're having trouble with sleep, there's your answer. If you need a little help with your joints, Contralenta. If you need to make your brain a little snappier, then get the snaps. The Cogniva works really well. And the US has got the Shake It Up program, so you can shake off a few pounds, shaking your shake every day, and some delicious recipes. They got a whole program if you want to lose a few pounds before Christmas there. This is a great promotion, the Black Friday promotion. So up to 50% off. So you can see we have a collective of products, our best products there, K21, Omega, Reds and Greens Booster, a Platinum, and a regular Immunocal. So take a close look at that one. It's a really good price point. And of course, when you buy this Immunikids auto ship bundle, $5 is donated to the Children's Medical Center Foundation. This is not for profit, and they really specialize in helping children with allergies, immune system things, infectious diseases. Just a great, great cause. So be sure to order one of those auto ship bundles. And again, here we are, our smiling faces, Immunotech. That's just some of us, of course. But we are committed to creating a brighter, healthier, and happier future for everyone. So when you join the Immunotech family, you join a group of thriving, like-minded individuals who share your passion for health and wellness. You know, Immunotech is more than just a company. It's a catalyst for change. It's a beacon of hope and a gateway to a healthier and brighter future. And you heard a lot of that tonight from Donna, all the hope that Immunotech gives people. So remember, your wellness is our passion and your success is our mission. So let's build a happier, healthier future together. If you're ready to get started with Immunotech, either the products or you want to take a look at the opportunity, be sure to talk to the person who invited you to this call. Thank you so much for joining us. We welcome you back next Tuesday with some more great stories. Take care.